and try to punish Syndra as much as I can before she hits 6.
Yeah, Syndra's an interesting matchup because both of you have the ability to 100 to 0 each other. It really boils down on who lands their CC, who lands the better engage. What I like to do versus Syndra is I essentially put myself somewhat close to minions so that she wants to Q to kill the minions and hit me at the same time. I take like a step to the side and then combo in on her. It doesn't work every time, and you have to be really, really careful of how you do it. But it can be a really, really strong way to make her waste one of her skills, and then you can essentially counter-engage while it's on cooldown. It's only a couple seconds, but it does give you an opening. My comment would be, as you mentioned, you want to be roaming. They're running a support in Italy who cannot peel for a Vayne. So if you can actually make it into that lane and land your ult, that's going to be a double kill for your team. I mean, you have a Fiddlesticks, and you have a Jinx. That's a lot of damage and a lot of CC between the three of you.
Yeah, and Darius, like if I can go top and he doesn't have Apprehend, I can probably combo him down depending.
Yeah, the best counter to Darius is ganking him. That being said, though, that relies on him being overextended and your team following up properly. I'm just so unconfident in Yasuo players right now that I'm very cautious when it comes to ganking or following up their engages because half the time they just miss everything and die.
I mean, 9 out of 10 Yasuos are garbage, and then the 10th Yasuo enters your game and just destroys you and everything you love.
It's
so
true.
You just kind of gotta wait and see. It was like Rengar when Rengar came out.
Or yeah, even a couple months ago, Rengar was permabanned up in Diamond, and everyone was like, no, he's terrible, he's terrible. But there was like 3 players who all they did was played Rengar in Diamond 1, so they had to ban it.
Well, if you play Rengar, you should be put on a registry. Like, you should have to go door to door and introduce yourself as a Rengar player.
It's true.
Like, you're not allowed within 50 yards of a LAN center.
Or anywhere near children. Because that's all you.
Right,
that's
yeah,
all Rengar does, is he just shows up and touches you inappropriately, and I feel very violated.
I feel very violated. That's the natural conclusion of that joke, yeah. That Rengar is a pedophile.
Oh yes. Okay, it's also worth noting that Yasuo really does require a team comp that can knock people up in the air to actually help him. You have a Jarvan who's very good at doing that, but it's not as much as you might like. If I were suggesting just general team comps or something like that, I might have suggested like an Orianna to pair with a Jarvan. Jarvan Orianna is already a great combination, and then you combine that with a Yasuo and Fiddlesticks ult, and it's just terrifying. Obviously, I'm not saying that you should have played Orianna here, but it's always good to keep in the back of your mind, well, what team comps might have worked better, what might pair up and make for a better team fight.
If I was gonna work with Yasuo, I think I would go with Diana, because her E totally triggers it.
So does Orianna ult, though. Orianna ult brings them all directly together so that Yasuo ult then hits every single person. It's like a Diana ult that doesn't have to go into melee range.
In a perfect situation, Orianna ult's totally better. I'm just kind of terrible at Orianna.
Yeah, she's difficult. I don't play her well either, so I can't really judge you on that. This Darius needs to buy a new computer. I feel like we should send a collection plate around, maybe say a prayer over his computer, excise the demons. Diana E does bring people together, but it's melee range, so it's a lot harder to pull off.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where if you can pull it off every 20 seconds, it'd be amazing, but I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, a lot of people miss it. Yep. I feel like as soon as Fate gets back into ranked and starts playing it and gains rank, I'm just going to be like, okay, so now I'm going to make a Diana-only Smurf and just laugh at you, Fate. Because I am just that cruel. Oh, I'd also point out you have to be really, really careful of wasting your flash on Cassiopeia, because if Cassiopeia has no flash, you're going to get absolutely destroyed by any form of CC. And they do have a decent amount. They have the Syndra,
Oh
they have the
yeah.
Jarvan.
Yeah, no, if I have no flash, I'm a walking 300 gold in a bag.
It's true. What build order do you usually go in Cassiopeia?
Yeah.
Depends on the matchup. If I'm like going balls to the wall against like a cannon, I go E. But I'm gonna be poking in the back. I'm gonna be dropping miasma, so maxing W, then probably E, then Q last.
Okay, usually you wouldn't max W, you'd max either Q or E. Q is your long-range poke. It scales really, really well with levels, whereas W, they just walk around it. They take maybe 1 or 2 ticks. The Q is the more duration poison, and the E is if you're actually able to duel people.
I mean, I'm not using the W on champion so much. I'm using it to shove the wave to enable more roam, but yeah, that does make sense.
A maxed Q will one-shot caster minions. And yeah, you essentially just drop Q, and then even if the minions split apart or whatever, they're still taking damage. A W is only worth it if they're able to actually stand in it. So it's good with your alt combo and everything, and on, let's say you're taking Wraiths or something. But outside that, usually you would never max W. It's your last spell to max.
Alright, so I'm already learning.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Okay, and just for the replay and everything, I am going to set it so I can only see what your team's seeing, so that way I don't say, well, obviously, this is what you should be doing, when it's not visible.
They say the key to beauty lies in grace and poise. What do you think? Let me help shuffle off your mortal coil.
Alright, I'm going to look up your runes and masteries here so I have those in front of me.
They say the key to beauty lies in grace and poise. What do you think?
Okay, so you don't run armor on Cassiopeia?
Let me
Uh,
shuffle off your mortal
Oh, I
I think I do.
okay, because your current rune page
I
is
forgot
15
on my
AP,
own.
mana regen, magic pen, and cooldown reduction.
What do you think?
Man, I thought I went through all my pages and upgraded them for, friggin' armor. I guess I didn't then.
Okay, because I have definitely seen some Cassiopeias running mana yellows, but it just makes her so squishy and makes her already weaknesses even bigger. Also, I see you did actually start W. I'm not sure if that was because I just said it after the fact, but yeah, usually I would start Q because it's your harass tool. I'd usually put
Yeah, we
one
had
point
that
in Q.
conversation that allowed me to adjust as I went.
Yeah. Oh no, it's just I'm mentioning it now because I'm actually at that point in the game where you're actually killing minions. Usually I would take 1 point in Q at level 1, 1 point in E in level 2, and then 1 point in W at level 3, and then max Q or E depending on if I'm dueling or poking. Okay, so the actual Syndra you're versus is running a lot of armor. She's running no magic pen, so she's running AP Quints, armor reds, armor yellows, MR blues, and then 2190. So you are going to have a little bit of an advantage versus her in terms of how much magic damage you're able to put out, as well as the fact that she's not going to have the increased blue buff duration. Okay, and I'll mention this just without using Vent.
Yeah,
because
she got an assist. I got ganked, which I'm not sure, but I'm up on gold, about 10 or 12 minions on her, which I think equates to a kill.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was just going to mention for when you're watching the replay, on Cassiopeia you want to be playing very, very aggressively early and just dancing back and forth, landing your Qs every single cooldown on her, because you need to be able to abuse the passive. You want to keep it up pretty much at all times, and spamming your Q is able to do that in most lanes. Obviously, you don't want to use it if it's not going to hit anything, but if you can chain it onto her, even 1 or 2 Qs just shreds through their health.
Yeah, no, maxing Q. I'm think I started maxing W in an age where her Q was a little less responsive because I
Definitely
can
likely.
see the
Definitely
benefit. It's more,
Yeah.
it's way more responsive than I remember it being. It's pretty good for poke. It's good for clear.
Yeah, Q is the best by far right now. Yeah, I actually just got to a point with that gank. You overextended just slightly. You didn't have your poison on her, so you weren't able to chain your E's. If you had landed, I think, one more E and the original Q had hit, you would have got the kill and then just been able to flash out like you did without taking that much damage. You also did take a turret
Like a
shot.
greedy.
Yeah, that just boiled down to just slightly overcommitting. Generally speaking, sending them out of lane and not having any risks is preferable to trying to risk a kill, because then you're up so much experience and you're up so many CS.
Yeah, I got greedy. I thought I could hit that last E, and I forgot about J4.
Yep. I'm not sure how far you are into your build at this point. I see you went double Dorans, that's great. Personally, in this matchup, because you are going to be dealing with the Syndra Burst and everything, I might suggest building a little bit more tanky. I see a lot of Cassiopeias actually running Rod of Ages, rather than doing like a tier build, because tier leaves you so very fragile.
I don't use tier because Cassiopeia's passive generally helps out. Abyssal might be a good choice. Anya's.
Yeah, if I were you, I would probably be running first item Rod of Ages, because the health stack and AP stack, and then I'd probably be building Hourglass right after that, and then into Leandro's Rylai's. And then that would be essentially full build, because that's 4 offensive items plus boots plus a defensive item late game. Someone mentioned in chat that they absolutely hate Rod of Ages on most mid champs. Rod of Ages is undervalued and is not very good on a lot of mid champs. On Cassiopeia, though, you need that
People are
tankiness.
disconnecting and reconnecting left and right, so no.
Okay.
That.
I noticed that you have hit level 6 at this point of the replay, and you are still pushing very heavily. That's a good thing that you're pushing. That being said, though, you need to find where you're able to roam to. You just mentioned that, obviously, the bot lane keeps disconnecting, so it's probably not worth your time to roam down there, but you need to figure out where is going to be effective and start that roam, essentially.
Yasuo is repeatedly disconnecting, and Fiddles is. So it kind of
okay.
sucks that...
I'd only seen the fiddle,
Well, here's
yeah.
Syndra.
I'm interested to see. I've actually noticed that Akali is gaining a lot of popularity again. And I think if that happens, Cassiopeia is going to be played again because she destroys Akali.
Before Bruisers got big, I kind of thought that Malzahar, Cassiopeia, Morgana would see a comeback because roaming seems to be super important with the new setup.
The problem is those champions don't roam as effectively as others. That's why Assassins were so big for a long time. Kassadin, Fizz, Gragas, all of those champions roam incredibly well and are able to just show up and one-shot people. Whereas now it's moving...
Yeah, the thing that with Malz and Morg and Cass and that gang is they have some CC and they can just shove all day. But their killing power isn't as potent. They're a little safer. But when you're in the League of Bruisers and there's 10 million people with gap closers...
Yeah, it can be very, very painful. Alright, so I see you went for 5 health potions and 2 stealth wards. I mentioned it before, I really like doing an early pink ward on my mid laners, because you can drop it behind your team's red buff, and it lasts pretty much the entire time, and it allows you to get a lot of vision of any sort of invades into your own jungle, and you can just show up and get a free kill. And it also just gives you that much more map vision, and again, it lasts pretty much the entire game. If I were you, I probably would have just got the one green ward, and had the other one be the pink ward.
So you drop the pink ward like in their jungle-ish, or like not super deep, but enough that you can see them.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
No, I actually put it on my allied red buff. So sorry, I realized I wasn't using push to talk. I would put it on my allied red buff. So see where there's the grass in behind the red buff, behind Baron Pit there? Dropping it in there lets you see anytime their jungler tries to invade your side. And it also lets you see anytime the top laner is trying to roam down. It just gives a lot of map coverage for what it costs.
A summoner has disconnected.
Yeah, I would put the ward right in here.
A summoner has reconnected.
Alright, so that Syndra ult... I don't know why Syndra didn't ult there. She could have easily comboed. You got the flash off of her, but that was just a little bit of over-engage based on how much mana you have. And now you're going back. If I were you, obviously it looks like they are mid. Syndra is pushing you and is low health. I would be calling my jungler at this point and just holding this as best I can. Obviously conserving what little mana I have left and just trying not to die, because you know that Syndra probably had ult, although she doesn't, but you didn't probably know that. Okay, the two Jarvans are fighting here, and it's on your side. You should be showing up to that. You don't have mana, but even an auto attack or two is going to be something. Darius responded, Yasuo did not, and you did not. You need to be responding to ganks. Syndra landed the stun onto you. It's not going to turn into anything for her, but again, that's just, you need to be very, very careful of how you're positioning versus a Syndra. Her burst is just so phenomenally high.
Yep, had no flash. Got dunked by J4.
Yeah, it looks like you're actually the one being pushed into turret at this point, and a lot of that boils down to you didn't get the first blue buff, and possibly overstaying a little bit.
It's also, we don't have a top laner at Fiddles, basically.
Oh yeah, obviously
I mean,
this is going to be a little bit one-sided.
Playing perfectly. Like, I'm obviously not playing perfectly, but, like, roaming, for instance, is a good way to get murdered right now. Where Yasuo is 0-4, 0-23 CS, and Darius is just rolling around.
Good roam that you did bot lane, though. I see that here. You're not stutter stepping very effectively, though. When you were trying to chase down the Nidalee, if you had moved between skills and auto attacks, you wouldn't have had to waste your flash to get over the wall. Looks like you actually didn't get her in the end either. Just slight mispositioning.
Like stutter stepping, that's animation canceling?
Yeah, orb walking, animation canceling, all of that. Basically, you kept losing vision of her, so you were starting an auto attack and then canceling it, but you weren't walking in between them. If you dropped your W in the middle of the bush, it would have slowed her, and then you could have just comboed back in and out using your E and auto attacks.
Alright.
And having that pink ward and red buff would have given you some vision here. You don't have the mana to finish him off, I don't think.
And now Jinx is fountain.
Oh. Good job actually picking that up. I didn't think you'd have the mana for it, but just barely. So good job on that.
A summoner has reconnected.
Yeah, there's just so many reconnects here. So at this point you've opted to go for a little bit of flat health. That's a good choicing, as you do need to be a little bit tanky here. Where to do that? That could be chased slightly better. Just not comboing very well. You did not have ult up, but you do have ignite. If you had just kept chasing and not stopped so many times, all you needed was one Q, an E, and an ignite. It would have easily been secured even with her potions. Now you have to be careful, because if you get hit by that stun, you're down. As soon as you see the stun used, though, you need to be able to combo in on that. You need to recognize that opportunity and make a play off
Like
of it.
right now, I can pretty confidently say most of my problems with mid lane are not big picture things. There's things like fast hitting with auto attacks, animation canceling,
Blue team
knowing exactly where to put wards.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here mostly boils down to you need to punish when they're using cooldowns. Anytime you see an opening, you need to identify it very, very quickly and essentially just punish them for making that mistake. Whether it's a missed skill shot, whether it's a cooldown that they've used taking like roaming or something like that. And then combining that with just slightly better mechanics as far as like how you're landing your skill shots, how you're positioning. Again, that just comes with knowledge of the champion and practice. And then combining that with map knowledge. So the warding, the roaming, that sort of thing, and just communicating all that knowledge to your team. Most of that just boils down to core game mechanics rather than mid lane in particular, though. So again, that's just something you pick up over time, and by focusing on, okay, well, what did I do wrong in that fight? How can I play better? Just focusing on mistakes allows you to improve very quickly.
My general map awareness is pretty decent because I played Soraka to start, which is a pretty good teaching tool for that.
Yeah, definitely can be.
But yeah, just dueling and the little things.
I would have not auto-attacked that tower. Minions were going to take it anyways, and you're putting yourself in a dangerous position. It would have denied a couple minions to the enemy team, possibly, and it would have left you a little bit more safe. I would have essentially said, okay, well, this turret's going down. Can I take Wraiths? Can I take Wolves? Can I roam? Maybe try to go bot, although it looks like Jinx is still gone. So, that being said, you need to be asking yourself a question every time you make a decision. It's, okay, was that the right decision? What should I be doing better? How should I be positioning? Alright, Darius is coming up. Missed Q. As soon as you miss a skill shot, you need to essentially just get out. Decision making there where it was just like, do I go up? Do I go down? Could have got you caught by those two. You need to be very, very decisive. And that's my main complaint right now, is just not being decisive enough to take advantage or to make a decision and stick to it and realize that it's probably going to be right.
purple team's turret has been destroyed.
Why did you not auto-attack? There you go. Good job, Jinx. Oh, that spear though. So at this point you've gone for double magic pen. I'm okay with that. I really like the early double magic pen, but as you, I'd be trying to rush out some sort of defensive item at this point. Probably a Rylai's. So you have the slow and you have the tankiness. It's a mix of all of the stats you want at that point. It's health, so you're tankier. It's a slow, so you have more utility and better opportunities to reposition. And it also is some good damage, so it would be a good pickup at this point before you finish Leandry's or anything else.
A summoner has reconnected.
So at the point of the game I'm in here, it looks like they're just going to keep sieging mid. That's a good thing for you, assuming you can hold the turret by just like dropping your skills on minions as they float in and not getting caught out. It looks like it did a little bit with one of the Syndra knockups, or not knockups, but the stuns. Just being able to permanently hold that turret. Yeah, it looks like you did exactly what you needed to do there in the fight I'm at, where you just stick inside turret, make them try and dive you, and then punish them for it using your CC.
Yeah, the Cassiopeia just shines under towers because they are going to be facing you and you can get a few of them.
Yeah, also pay attention to the time that the minions cross certain like choke points, and you can use that to drop your W in place so that all of the minions as they walk towards your turret are already taking that damage. Oh, that Jinx flash. That Jinx flash was not good. It's interesting because your team seems to be making some good plays every once in a while, it's just they can't stay connected.
Yeah, like Yasuo's behind, but he could be any champion in the game and he would be behind.
Yeah, and
He's
like your
cheaper,
Jinx is
like-
5 and 2 at this point of the game. Arctic Freeze, this is a one-on-one ranked session with one of our donators, Requine. That's just not good comboing of your team. I think that just boiled down to a communication issue, but you're all going to die for that. That was not a good play. If you want to go in on Darius, you have to go as 3. You can't just send him and then the rest of you focus someone else. Not talking to her. Yeah, you have to be saving your flash. Only use it when it's really required. Oh, that exhaust. Oh. This hurts my brain. Yeah, you guys need to be holding bot turret. Because 3 or even 2 people could hold that very easily. Like, you have your ult up. Ooh, that ult was a little bit off. That being said, I think you're going to be able to pick this up just fine. Alright, maybe not. You needed to keep running from the Nidalee. You could have made it at least another few steps, and that would have been enough time, hopefully, for Yasuo to land some sort of CC. Again, depended on if he was good or not. Oh my god, Yasuo, just clean it up. Ezreal and Dorn's Blades. Like, I don't know what he's doing. Yeah. Well, both him and Fiddlesticks have been gone most of the game. I'll continue following casts now. The Arm Guard is actually not a bad choice, but it's going to take a very long time to finish that Hourglass. I think Rylai's might have been a better option.
So it looks like we have a full team now. I just don't know if we'll be able to make up that deficit.
Well, if they're all back, that's at least a chance. At that point, I would have hard engaged. Your ult is up, and you landed a combo onto them. When you land a combo and you see an engage opportunity, you have to go in on it, essentially. Just continue chasing rather than backstepping, and then land an ult if they try and turn and fight you. If not, you just keep chasing. It's one of those things where if they turn and fight you, you win. If they don't, well, you also win because you get harass onto them. That Fiddlesticks should not have continued chasing. But Yasuo's here, maybe... no. He's still crap. Why the chat clear? I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I would not be staying if you're lower than half health in most of these cases. Your only real option is to notice one of their openings and then follow it through mercilessly, so just keep chasing them in. And if you're anywhere below about 3/4 health, they're just going to combo back onto you and you're going to die.
Yeah, I think my thought process.
Dominating. Godlike. Blue team has slain the dragon.
I feel like with Cass, I kind of picked up a habit. Like when you're playing a Moo or Sejuani or whatever, you get off your ult and your death is worth it. That's probably not the case
With Cassiopeia,
Cassiopeia.
I noticed a couple times where you're on a turn or something and you land a W or a Q onto Vayne and she starts to run backwards, and then you disengage. If you've landed something and they start to back out, you chase them. And then what happens is if they turn to fight you, well, you get a free ult and a kill. If they don't turn and fight you, well, you keep getting poke onto them and you win the trade anyways. It is a lady. Good ult. I try and avoid using Cassiopeia ult on one person, but if you're killing their AD carry and you're this behind, it's really nice to be able to get back into the game like that. Alright, so you have finished your Hourglass at this point, so that's going to make for a really good team fight. I would be mentioning to your team that, okay, I have it up, I have Hourglass, this is how long the cooldown on my ult is, and try and make a play when that's come back up. Instead, they've used the Fiddlesticks ult, they've used the Yasuo flash. They're going to have some issues here.
I checked the stream to see if anyone said anything about the shutdown on Syndra. Someone's like, so is this a dude or a girl? I'm like, oh, okay.
The CS currently, Syndra's about 10 actually only 3 CS ahead. Yasuo, of course, only has 40 CS because he's been AFK the entire time. Okay, so you should be able to follow this through. I think this is what you're talking about with the shutdown. Good Hourglass there, completely blocking that. Good cleanup by your team too. Jinx is actually pretty far ahead. In terms of kills, obviously. So keep in mind that we will be trying to form up a ranked team after this. Okay, Cassiopeia is almost alive now. Okay, so the Hourglass is finished. Looks like you're finishing up your Leandries now. I would still probably build Rylai's before that. At this point in the game, you look to be building towards Leandries. That being said, I would probably finish Rylai's before Leandries. Now that you have Hourglass, you need that extra slow, you need the extra tankiness. The Leandries is great, and it's a lot of extra power spike come mid and late game, but it's only really useful if you're staying alive, so the extra health is really useful.
Yeah, I just finished before you let me know, but that's something to let me know for the future.
Alright. Yeah, Cassiopeia has to be played a lot like an AD carry, where having damage is great, but if you're not alive to deal the damage, you're of no use, right? So that's why a lot of AD carries, they'll get their 1 or 2 offensive items, and then you'll see them build like a really early Guardian Angel or a really early tank or defensive item because they're getting focused so hard. This Yasuo's getting comboed so hard.
Yasuo, no!
I would also be trying to get some wards in here so that Nidalee can't siege. Nidalee's not good at disengaging, she's only good at really poking and escaping, if not hard CC'd. So you need those wards in place, because yeah, like both you and Jinx took some harass. And now you're not going to have enough health to actually fight. Oh, that could have been really... Yeah, good job, good job. That turnaround there, just Jinx
What do you
saying...
think about the Woda cast? Worth it or not?
I actually was in a Diamond ranked game recently, and our Cassiopeia rushed Rod of Ages, and then she rushed Woda. She just like built a full tank spell vamp cast. It worked, but I would say it's very, very situational. I wouldn't suggest it. Good hourglasses though in blocking the Syndra ult. You've done it a couple times now, and it's exactly what you need to be doing. Just seeing it coming and wasting her entire ult on it.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of Syndra, so I'm pretty familiar with the wind-up animation.
Yeah, and that's really important to know. Obviously, you're not going to be able to main every champion, but if you're comfortable enough with them so that you know what their combo should be, you know what it looks like, that's going to give you a lot of opportunities to outplay them.
Yeah, I own every champ and I play a fair amount of ARAM, so I'm not an expert by any means, but...
Yeah, a lot of people bitch about how boring ARAMs are, how useless they are. It's really good to just get a taste for how every champion works. You just jump in there, you have 10 different champions, and you just learn something. And it's somewhat fun.
There's a really weird thing where there are people who don't know how to lane, but they've picked up decent team fighting skills from ARAM. So you'll just get stomped in lane, and then suddenly people know how to focus and position, and you're just...
It's really good. Yeah, I know one of my friends who helps commentate the stream sometimes. He's a Dominion player, and he's absolutely amazing at Dominion. He's on one of the top 3 ranked teams for Dominion in North America. But his actual rank, he's about as good as me at Summoner's Rift. So he's fine, but it's not like he's best in the world or competitive or anything. And as he says, I don't lane at all. My laning is terrible, but I know exactly how to team fight and skirmish and what's a good and bad play. And that's something you can pick up in ARAM or Dominion or whatever game mode you find entertaining. Okay, I think you guys are going to get a little cut out here because
Yeah, the problem with
Yasuo's
Summoner's
up here.
Rift is there are champions where people rely on laning, like Vayne. People will be like, as long as I can team or farm on Vayne, I'm fine. I'm just gonna farm on Vayne all.
Yeah, people need to be able to learn to
really
build
team fight or
responsibly.
whatever.
Oh, that was a bad ult. You need to be holding your ult until the last second, ideally. Also, you didn't need to hourglass there. Like it looks like the team fight's going to go for your team's favor, but it is just a little bit sloppy, that whole fight.
I eat way too many Nid spears.
Yeah, I mentioned off of the VoIP for a little while back that you need to get some of these wards, especially around your base when they're sieging, because if you or Jinx takes a spear or two, well, now you can't fight, right? So having those wards in place gives you a lot more vision and a lot more ability to dodge those out. Oh, that was a good combo that Jinx landed a little while back, just landing the traps on and then re-engaging. If you and Fit would have been able to get the other 2 kills as well. You need to be playing responsibly of how your team is managing everything.
Yeah, this Jinx is actually carrying pretty hard. I need to be following her lead more.
Yeah, and come mid and late game, team fights pretty much just boil down to what team still has their AD carry alive. So as a mid laner, I pretty much just turn into a second support late game. I say, okay, is the AD carry fighting? If not, then I disengage. If they are engaging, then I just hard engage the stun, do what I can to try and make them more effective. Okay, so good fear coming in from Fiddlesticks, and you're just able to combo that in. Great job, again, noticing what's happening and responding in time. I would do exactly what your team's doing now, yeah. Try and get into their red buff, catch anyone out, and then collapse in onto the mid lane. Looks like... yeah, you should get that. It looks like Fiddle, though, is a little bit out of sync with the team. Again, you're using your ult on only one person. I would be saving that for team fights. You also didn't need to flash, you still had half health, and J4's not going to be able to burst half your health in 1 or 2 hits. So I would have just stayed in the pit and kept DPSing him. Oh, okay. I'm assuming that was a misclick for that hourglass. Looks like Vayne's up soon and Nidalee's already up. I would say that you should be able to get this inhibitor turret, but not the inhibitor. You're probably going to want to back after that. Yasuo is actually leaving and you don't have an AD carry, so I would just probably get out. Yeah, you're just not in sync with J4. J4 is continuing to push and he's going to die for it. Oh, actually he escaped. I don't know why Vayne didn't do anything there. She could have condemned him. Ooh. Yeah, that was just overstaying. As I said, you don't have an AD carry with you, so why essentially suicide for the possibility of a turret? Looks like Jinx is finishing up her last whisper. After that, though, she needs to get a Guardian Angel. You also need to be warding Dragon. Or not Dragon, Baron. In the new meta, everyone's responsible for wards, so yeah, you need to be getting some down. I also don't like Furor shoes. They're not that good on anyone. Even AD carries generally don't run them. It's better to go home guard and hold your base if you're behind, or to get the flash cooldown if you're playing someone who really has to have flash up, like an Annie support. Yeah, you guys are caught out on this Baron. You're gonna die. So now Yasuo has no flash, and your team's low, and they're probably gonna be able to turn around and do a Baron. If they wanted to, they could. Yeah. You guys are trying to fight without Yasuo. Good decision not to go that way, but again, you need to be responding to these things quicker and not using your ult on a single target. You need to wait till they're a little closer there. You would have been able to stun all 3 and then escape and probably kill Vayne. Yeah. That was just a sloppy team fight from your team. Not so much from you. From you, it was mostly just the ult not hitting enough people. You can block Baron with Yasuo well. This Yasuo can't land his Q. Late game Yasuo can. This Yasuo has shit for items. I guess he does have Infinity Edge now, so it's not like he does no damage. Oh, this is just a... I don't know why they're trying to fight with no one up. They're just cycling in 1 or 2 at a time, and it's not going to go well for them. Alright, so you're back up now. I would notice that J4 is up soon after you, and wait for him. You're not going to be able to go in 1v4. You just need to clear minions as best you can, not get hit by a spear or a stun, and then follow up as J4 goes in. I think you E'd before your Q to hit, so therefore you didn't get the reset.
My team is obsessed with going for Baron. Will be the death of us.
Yeah, in that case I would be communicating with them and just saying we don't need to do that, like, just don't. You also, anytime I've seen you guys try for it, you don't have warding on it.
Yeah, no, Yasuo has tried to solo it at least twice now.
Yeah, Yasuo can block it with his wall, and can solo it, but that doesn't mean he's going to be able to.
I mean, yes, he's behind, and there's no ward, so even if the champion can solo it, this dude probably can't.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. At this point, I think you have enough for Rylai's. I think it's 1,000 gold plus giants and blasting one. I could be wrong on that. I might be 1,400. As soon as you can get it, though, you should. Also, I'd be very careful about staying there with half health. Oh, yeah, sweater. Good job staying with the Jinx, though, because you're pretty much the only one who can help her DPS anyway. Alright, you got that. Now turn on to the rest of their team. You do not have ult, though, so you have to be careful. Fiddlestick's going alone. Alright, so Crystal Scepter's finished now. That's going to improve your DPS
That's
by
scary.
a lot.
Turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, that's pretty much over. Yeah, I think the earlier Rylai's would have helped a lot, just because it gives you so much more chase and peel potential. Just that you can reposition and not have to use your flash, not have to use your ult every single time someone shows up. As I mentioned a number of times, though, those just need to be conserved a little bit more.
So yeah, thanks for the advice.
Yeah, not a problem.
I think I have a pretty decent idea of what to work on now.
Not a problem. I would recommend, I'm going to upload this video probably tomorrow. I do work tomorrow. So a lot of the advice I gave, where I was just like commenting on builds, positioning, that sort of stuff, I didn't really bother using the VoIP for it because it was 3 minutes behind, right? So it's not really going to be any use to you at that point. So I definitely recommend watching that back just so you get a little bit of extra advice. Also, as I mentioned, I am going to be setting up some sort of a little ranked team tonight, and we can definitely get you onto that, and we can practice some different roles, some different, essentially team comp styles.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be up for that. I'm gonna step away from my computer for a while just because I've been online for like 6 hours. But yeah, thanks for the help.
Yeah, not a problem. Anytime. Alright, so I'm going to actually close out of this replay because it looks as though the game is pretty much over here. So as I mentioned,
Yeah.
I will be uploading this tomorrow, so you should be able to find it just like through normal YouTube notifications.
Yep, cool. Alright, later.
Yes, yeah.